Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart Healing Conversations with Dawn and Janna. Every week, we pull back the curtain on the things that weigh us down and explore the tools that lift us up. From vulnerable stories to practical wisdom, we're diving deep into what it means to live wholeheartedly. So, with that, let's get started. Hi, Janna. How are you today?
Hey, Dawn. Oh, warming up at least. I'm sure you've seen half of the country, three-quarters of the country has been under massive snow, massive ice storms, and out here where we are, we've been in the frigid cold mainly. We had a little bit of snow that came through, but it's been in the negative temperatures. And well, let me tell you the struggles of doing that while living in an RV with kiddos. It's definitely something to help bring you back to the level of importance and the main necessities in life. That's for sure. But that also brings me to something I wanted to talk about a little bit more in depth today is how so many people in our world are struggling. It might be today's snowstorm, ice storm that's kind of pushed you over the edge and caused extra stress and anxiety. But all around the world, we're seeing a variety of different things, and it's just kind of taking over our news feeds, if you will, whether it be your social media account, your conversation at the coffee shop. It's just something that's always in the forefront, and we just don't have any rest from it. And I kind of worry about all the people and how they can move forward and learn to handle a lot of this in a little better space.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the world is really heavy right now. As far as energetically, people are really feeling a lot of things. This is a different age than when you and I grew up. We didn't have social media. We didn't even have cell phones that had, any smart abilities.
True.
And you would see your news like in the evening and in the morning, but that's it. And now we're just inundated all the time. And it's hard to remain centered and peaceful when, you know, everywhere we go, we're hearing about what's going on. And like I said, it's heavy things, it's big things. And, it doesn't matter what position you take in life, there's things going on that hurt everybody, whether it's world events or events in our communities. We all just want to navigate life with a little bit more ease, but our hearts, I think, are feeling really heavy. Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Yeah, I think even on the personal level, when we have something going on, even on our home front, it's kind of human nature to just keep it all inside, not talk about
Mhm.
it. Oh, I can deal with it myself. It's okay. And then when we start seeing all this other stuff coming up, more stress, anxiety, overwhelm, something goes wrong at work, and the snowstorm came in, and now I can't get to work on time, and the boss is yelling at me. I needed this done yesterday. You just get into such a state of chaos, really. We have to find ways to bring ourselves back to that center, like you said, and be able to take a deep breath and know that ultimately I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay and believe
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think when we have all these personal things going on, and our level of stress keeps rising and we don't have ways to process it. And then we're looking at what's going on in our community, what's going on in our state, what's going on in the world. And then, we start reacting to everything because we're so overloaded with information and things that we need to navigate. And some of them are really pressing, right? And so it just leaves us in a state of kind of chaos and frenzy. And so we do need to talk about how do we navigate some of these things? Because we're noticing not just, I think, in our personal lives, but we're noticing there's so much discord between people and families as well. And I think it's really easy to lose focus, and it's very easy to forget that we have so many people in our life that we love and that we want to stay connected to. It's important to. And how do we navigate those relationships when we're going through stressful times or when maybe we disagree with things that are going on in our personal lives or in the world? How do we navigate that?
I like that you use the word being reactive because I
Hmm.
think by default, that's what a lot of us do. When somebody says something to us, we don't listen to listen and offer that listening heart. We listen to be reactive about how we feel or our stance on whatever the topic is.
Hmm.
And if we can come from that space of compassion and recognize that each one of us as an individual, we have different points of view, we have different feelings about different topics, and that's okay. That's absolutely
Hmm.
natural. And we should be able to hold safe conversations together without getting reactive
Hmm.
and ruining these relationships. I mean, I know on a personal level, I have a couple of family members that won't talk to me, and I have reached out and I still can't even really find an answer as to why. Even
Yeah, that's
trying to fix
heartbreaking.
things, and it's like, I can't really apologize for something that I did if I don't know what I did. And
Right.
if I have the courage to step out and ask you, hey, can we fix this? I kind of, I guess we go to expectations. I
Right.
expect that you will meet me halfway and at least hold space for my conversation and say,
Hmm.
well, this is what happened, or this is what you said, or this is what you did, and it hurt my feelings.
Hmm.
But I think we've all become so reactive that the first thing we assume is that the person's going to get mad and angry and upset with us as soon as we say,
Right.
hey, can I talk to you?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think there's just so much noise in the world, and we're all having difficulty processing it that we do get reactive instead of responding. Like I always look at responding versus reacting. Reacting is like in the moment, just, I'm angry. I don't even pause, but response requires a pause. Let's pause, let's think, let's drop into our heart, let's get centered before we say something that maybe we will regret later. Because you're right, like it's important that we get heard. We all want to be heard. We all want to be seen. We all want to know we matter. And I think there's so much just kind of disagreements because people aren't feeling those things. And being able to be heard is one of the most important things as far as navigating connections and relationships and healing in our lives. People ask me sometimes, well, what does it mean to be a listening heart? It means to sit and hold space for someone without needing to really say anything, without judging or criticizing or comparing or offering advice. Because as humans, those are so ingrained in us to do all those things. But to just sit and listen, most of us have never been taught that. It's really uncomfortable when you first start. Can you relate to that?
Absolutely. By human nature, we're just, oh wait, I gotta let me answer, let me tell you what I think, or let me, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way.
Mm.
We just jump right in without even thinking. So it does take a lot of practice to actually sit and just listen. And like you said, pause before responding and giving kind of a compassionate response. Even if it's not something that you agree with, it can be a, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way, or I'm
Mhm.
sorry that that happened to you. It doesn't have to be me coming out and saying, well, you did it wrong, or you shouldn't have done that. It's, I'm just sorry
Right.
it happened, and I'm sorry that happened to you.
Hmm. So what do you think? You brought up family members and not really talking to you. What do you think we can do? Like, because I know there's lots of people out there that family and friends maybe just have kind of disconnected with them, and it hurts our hearts, right? Because these are important relationships in our life. So what can we do? Um, because most of us don't want to engage in debates and we don't want to be arguing, but we still want to stay connected. So what is one thing or two or whatever that you can think of that would be helpful in these situations?
My biggest suggestion has been find a safe topic. It
Hmm.
could be, hey, how are the kids today? How's your job going? Like, hey, I heard you got a new car. Congratulations. It doesn't have to start from a place of fear, stress, or anxiety. Start with something that's joy filled, even something in your life. Even just, I found sending a text, say Christmas, hey, Merry Christmas, just so they know you're thinking about them and it's not always in a negative platform. It takes
Hmm.
a lot of work to rebuild, but I think over time, the more of that good that you build up with, then it kind of takes some of that reactivity away, that fear of, oh, you're just going to yell, you're just going to scream. It's a, well, it might not be so bad. Maybe she's just calling to say hi.
Hmm.
Maybe she heard that we're going to have another little one and she just wants to say congratulations.
Well, something that came to me when you were talking is I have a lot of clients come to me and they're like, my relationship with so and so is not what I'd hoped it would be, and I really want them to change. And I always remind people that we can't force other people to change. The only person we have control over is ourselves. And when we change and when we show up differently, then those relationships change. If we come armed and want to engage in, an argument, then we're going to be met with the same thing from family members or friends. So what kind of energy do we want to put into our relationships? How do we want to show up? It's really important to think about that.
Absolutely. That's so many times. I think people get into awkward situations and it's just more comfortable to not get involved or not say anything, just not deal with that person. But truthfully, it does come from our own space. And if you can walk in a changed person, confident in yourself, confident in your feelings and how you navigate in this world and what you will allow in your
Right.
space, that it changes things. People can
Mhm.
feel that difference and they're like, I wonder what's going on. Like, this is completely different.
Yeah.
I can talk to you and it doesn't feel like you're attacking me, or I
Hmm.
can I can do this activity and I don't feel like you're going to yell at me for it. And
Right.
again, it goes down to that healing our own hearts. And you mentioned control, not try
Hmm.
to be in control of anybody else other than myself.
Hmm.
That was a hard one for me personally. I know that's how I found or felt safe was, well, if I can control all of these situations, then I know the outcome. Well, I didn't
Right.
know the outcome, and I never will have the proper outcome in any situation. But
Hmm.
coming to that realization that I have no control over it, I can control how I react. Like if I say, okay, have a good day, or
Hmm.
I hope you have a good week, that's leaving on a better end than yelling at somebody. I mean,
Oh, exactly.
words have so much power.
They do. And it's okay to set those boundaries and say, if someone's bringing up something that is just going to end up in an argument or a debate, say, I really value our relationship. Can we just set this to the side and let's remember why we're here? I mean, I have a good story about family being together over the holidays and one family member wanting to engage another family member in a debate that both of them looked at things differently. And so one of the family members decided, well, I'm not going to let this ruin my holiday. I'm just going to say, we're not going to talk about this today because it's a holiday and let's enjoy our time together because we don't get many moments like this. And I
Yeah.
think it's important that we do those things. Um, so many of us right now are in a state of fear. Like you said, we don't know the outcome of so many things in our own lives and in the world. And so that brings up panic and fear and anxiety. And
Mm.
so, what do we want to do? We want to control. And sometimes that means we want to control what other people think, what other people feel, what other people do. And great reminder, we can't. We can only work on ourselves. So, when we can't change things around us, what can we change? We can change what's inside of us.
And our own reactivity.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's not easy.
No.
Not easy at all. And, there's a lot of grief right now that people are experiencing. And, I think it's important that we are honest about that.
And
You
I think
know,
that also brings another point about being honest. I mean, we have every emotion, both of us. And if
hmm
I can't feel safe telling hey, I'm going to be honest with you, that's not a topic I can talk about without you coming back at me, then that tells me that's really not a safe environment for me because in no way are you going to be honoring my thoughts, my opinions, my feelings. And that's what I'm looking for. And
right.
I'm here to help you. I'm here to be your friend. But we have to hold that safe space for each other, even as friends, family, even as just a passerby on the street. Like I have
Mhm.
no reason to be anything but nice to somebody. I
Mhm.
don't know what they're going through. I know in my personal times, I would give anything for somebody to just smile and say hi.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's really, really lonely. Most of us, I think,
Mhm.
live in a lot of fear, anger, anxiety, stress. And sometimes that's all we really need is just one little small thing in the day to kind of move us on a better trajectory.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we can just all be kind to each other, we don't have to agree.
Mm-mm.
And the best of times, we're not all going to agree. But in the worst of times, we need to remember it's okay if we don't agree, but we can still be kind
Mm-hmm.
to one another. We can realize that we aren't walking in anybody's shoes but our own. So we don't know what's going on in that other person's life or those other people's lives.
Yep. And
And
everybody.
even if we know like what's going on, we don't know how they feel.
Mm, exactly. We all just want to matter.
Yeah, we do. We want to matter. We want to feel heard. We do want to feel connected, even though many of us try to isolate out of fear, out of belief that that's what we need to do when we're hurting. So I think the whole world just needs a big hug right now.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many things that we just can't fix. It's important. I know this in my own personal life. If I'm having a reaction to something, it's important for me to look at why I'm having a reaction to it. It's
Mm,
bringing up something in me. Is it fear? And if it's anger, underneath anger is usually a sadness. So what is it I'm sad about? But as long as we look outward and blame, then we don't look inward and heal. And
mm-hmm.
that's so important if we're really going to have the type of life we want and the connections that we deserve.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned kind of taking that feelings inventory of, okay, something's going on. I don't feel right. Like,
Mhm.
why am I feeling this way? And naming those emotions specifically so that you know what exactly it is you're feeling. I think sometimes we like to call ourselves like, well, I have anxiety. I am
Mhm.
anxious instead of I feel anxious. And
Mhm.
sometimes being able to actually pinpoint those words that you're feeling, like you said, helps you kind of pinpoint what exactly is bothering you.
Yeah.
And if you can't quite figure it out, sometimes sitting in that space is exactly what you need. Taking that 10 minutes to think about it and find out what it is from earlier today that set that off.
Yeah.
Most people will tell me, well, I don't have time for that. But if you're in that
Mhm.
space of reactivity, that's where I argue no, that's exactly why you need this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I'll just be completely transparent. There's so many times in my life, well, I don't have time to look at this. I don't have time for self-care. Well, then I'm like this, trying to navigate things and I'm overwhelmed. I can't figure out why I'm not getting anything done. And when I just stop doing and I just pause and take that time, even if it's only 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I feel so much better and I show up better in my relationships. And that's what really matters because how I show up in my relationships is going to determine how my life looks and how I feel, right?
Absolutely. Just, I guess I don't know how to even describe it. I felt a lot of that same, and I am one of the worst for it because I will absolutely put too much on my plate and then I'll add something else and something else. And
Hmm.
like you said, it's just, I can't do this anymore. And, oh, well, stop and take a breath. No, I don't have time for this.
Right.
I never used to, but I have had to learn and force myself, okay, that is the signal to stop. Like, set the phone down, turn
Hmm.
on music, look out the window, see if you can see some birds or deer or something walk by. Take a moment to come back to reality here and let's figure out why you feel so stressed. Because
Hmm.
truthfully, most of those things that are on our plate, do they really have to be done right this second? Do they really have to be bothering me that badly?
Hmm.
No, usually, okay, I can do this, I can do this. Tomorrow that I can do that tomorrow. It's fine. But I think we've become so ingrained in the go, 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 busy, busy, busy.
Yeah.
And even like social media, TV, everything. It's just so much noise that
Hmm.
silence scares us.
Yeah. And the thing is the world is not going to stop so we can nurture ourselves. It's not. There's always going to be something that is fighting for our attention. So we have to make the effort. We have to make that decision and choose to pause, to put down the phone, to turn off the TV, to tell the kids we just need 10 minutes or our spouse, to take that break at lunch instead of working, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to go to bed early, to let ourselves sleep in, because someone is always going to be vying for our attention. Someone's always going to want something, but we don't have anything to give if our cup is empty.
It's like we're always telling everything else in the world that it's more important than we are.
Yeah, which is not true. I mean, it's hard. I ask people, so when I ask you the question to tell me the things that you love, do you put yourself on that list? And everybody's like, huh? No. Well, like if we don't love and care for ourselves, what do we have to give to everybody else? We think that we can just give, give, give at the expense of ourselves, but we're not showing up as the highest version of ourselves when we're not caring for our mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely. I agree.
So I think it's been a great conversation today. I mean, I personally just really want people to know that I understand there's a lot of heaviness in the world, and please be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And remember that even though our loved ones, might not think the same or feel the same, it's important to honor one another and to set our own boundaries.
Yes. Keep pushing forward, working on yourself,
Mhm.
finding those emotional boundaries, those healthy things that make you feel more alive, bring you more joy,
Mhm.
and radiate more good into the world.
Yeah, I agree. All right, everyone, please subscribe to our channel. That would be great if you could do that. And then you'll find our contact information in the show notes. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them for us. And we will see you next week. Bye,
Thanks,
friend.
Lauren.